German church finally says sorry for the quote-unquote bleeding wound of witch burning. Between the 15th and 18th centuries, about 25,000 people, mostly women, but also including men and children, were persecuted or killed on allegations of witchcraft in German lands. After 400 years of near silence from the Catholic Diocese, German Bishop Gregor Maria Hanke called it, quote, a bleeding wound on the history of our church. He pledged to place a memorial plaque commemorating victims in the local cathedral. One campaigner who worked to hold the church accountable for its past was retired German pastor Hartmut Hegeler. He said, quote, the church was scared of the Reformation and the witch trials were a means to combat it, end quote, adding that those who turned away from Catholicism were, quote, labeled as in league with the devil, end quote. Since 2011, over 50 German towns have apologized for their history of witch burning.
I was going to say that, yeah, they were afraid of the the Reformation, but also I think it was definitely a message, especially to women, about how the church feels about you, what your place in the world is, and who you are. Because let's not forget, there was a witch hunting manual put out by the church called the Malefice Maleficarum, and the very first line of that manual is, evil is in women incarnate.
Uh-oh.
So you have this whole sort of overarching, mythos and mission statement, definitely turning away from the church, but also so similar to the blasphemy charges or charges of, heresy in a lot of countries like Pakistan or in Nigeria. You have neighbors who have beef with each other, somebody coveting someone's property, someone angry about something having nothing to do with the religion, being able to use this and know that it's going to work because you have a whole society that has this similar mindset, and the government and the church, which are kind of one at that time, are pushing this narrative as well. It's a real good control mechanism and elitists taking power mechanism and, mechanism for, sadists.
So I think the title, okay, so German church finally says sorry for witch burning. I think it should be basically we German church finally is forced to recognize that they're morally so far behind modern society that they have been forced to admit how evil they used to be, but would have continued to be if they weren't being dragged kicking and screaming into superior moral and ethical values than the church has ever provided. That would be the actual summary.
I think that's what they call TLI, too long, TLFI, too long for the internet.
Yes.
But I just want to say one more thing about this, is that the other thing that people fail to remember at how much this devastated some communities, literally devastated them. And we know a lot about it because they kept a lot of records and they would talk about it, and all the instruments of torture that were invented specifically at this time. So it's an industry as well as ideology, because there's the church and the witch burners and the torturers. So there's all these tertiary industries, and how it devastated these towns and the sense of fear that so many people had. But also, I just really want to talk about the knowledge that was lost to people. And this goes for all kinds of these types of, mass genocide isn't quite the right word, but is that there's all these things that people could have brought to society, could have contributed, things that we'll never know, because this whole group, particularly of women, who a lot of them happen to have been midwives and other things. So a lot of plant knowledge, a lot of historical knowledge, a lot of, just personal songs, fairy tales, all kinds of things gone like that.
Man, how many times does Armin have to pee during this episode?
I don't know. Maybe he's checking on the cats again. That was some crazy sounding cats.
Yeah, I also didn't realize like just the numbers. Like it said, so between the 15th and 18th century is 25,000 people in Germany alone. But then in the article I saw, it was like 60,000 throughout the entirety of Europe, including England.
Mm-hmm. And some of the most, the witch burnings that happened even into the 20th century, there have been some, isolated cases, but and then we see the witch crazy stuff happening in a lot of places in Africa as well. And it's just, you can't defend yourself either, because if you say no, it's proof of that you did it. If you say yes, you're also punished. When they would throw you into the water and just test to see if you were a witch, even if you were exonerated by how the body reacted, you still are dead.
And Fatima was saying, once again, women take over. So, and this is something that I wanted to highlight in this news, is that, okay, this happened 400 years ago. Obviously, the German church needed to get with the times and acknowledge what it did. But like Rivka just mentioned, this still happens today. This is a very widely spread practice in parts of Western Africa in particular, like Ghana and Nigeria. And this is why I encourage everyone to go look up and support the work of Leo Igwe, who is an amazing activist. And he has a project for people who are accused of witchcraft. And the persecution of alleged witches in Nigeria and Ghana is extremely severe, and I wish it was highlighted more. Like Rivka was mentioning, throwing them in the water. Literally, in one area that Leo works, they used to just go throw people in a river and see if the crocodiles ate you. And if they didn't, then you were innocent. That only stopped because of areas in the environment and the crocodiles died out, right? And so we still need to actively fight against such superstitious beliefs like this. And in areas like Nigeria and Ghana, this is still pushed forward by Christianity, specifically. And so-called prophets.
It's so clear when you look at these kind of things as they repeat themselves, that one of the ways that we can really work to end this type of dangerous superstition, or like the sacrificing, your child or your nephew, all of it depends on critical thinking. I think that needs to start in primary school, teaching kids how to understand a real argument, how to ask real questions. And I think Leo actually had some textbooks or primers about critical thinking for kids. And
he literally does critical thinking education for children in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we do need to, I'm going to highlight some member comments, YouTube member comments, before we move to the next news. Troll saying the context of those numbers is that the population was very smaller back then. So today that might be the equivalent of hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Wow,
that's a very good point.
Well, I think hundreds of thousands, but not millions. We'll see. Hossein is saying it's crazy because witch burning isn't even fundamental. Imagine how many women were stoned, like what is this?
I have no idea what that word
is. But I think killing witch is in the Old Testament. So it is. It is part of.
Well, they're pagans, so if you're in a monotheistic mindset, then anybody who's not.
Bish is saying to think it's as old, if not older, than when Oh,
Hypatia.
oh, I love this woman. What do you say? I know.
Hypatia.
Hypatia.
Hypatia of Alexandria. There's a movie about her called Agora. Go watch it. A mathematician astronomer was accused of witchcraft by Christian fanatics and was killed for it. Well, she wasn't accused of. She was accused of paganism. So close enough. And also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy of Why There's No. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, like, I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.